Yay Networks.
Hey guys, episode 63. Jeff and I, thank God it's Friday. We are recording on a Friday today. We had a very long night last night. We were at Children's Hospital till midnight.
Yep.
Our youngest, Leighton, if you follow us on Instagram, you know he is prone accident. This kid needs to be wrapped in bubble wrap the rest of his life. He's always getting stitches. I mean, you would think after so many times to the ER that he would be very cautious and would not do things that he does, but he does. And we love him. But I'm like, Leighton, come on. Every time, $1,500 to the ER.
Let's set the stage here. So
Here we go.
yeah, so yesterday took the kids for a little treat after school, because it's our first week of school. So I let them get Slurpees, and then we pick out a candy, and I was like, okay, you could pick out a candy too. So they were stuffed with sugar, which probably isn't a good idea, but you want to be a good dad, so you bribe them. So anyways, that was around 6 o'clock. 9 o'clock, we're all trying to go to bed. We go to bed, we're watching Lacey Peterson documentary on Netflix, which is an old case, but they redid the documentary on Netflix. So we're halfway through that. And Lost and Leighton, you could hear them kind of bouncing around in the other room, and Jordan pop in there and say, guys, you got to lay down. It's time for bed. You got to go to school. So I just hear this, you know the sounds.
Yes.
It's weird being a parent. You know the different sounds. And I heard this sound and then nothing and then a giant cry.
Yeah.
So I popped up. I knew something was wrong. I go in there and I was looking at his head because just the TV was on. So I was like, buddy, you're fine. Your head is fine. And he puts his chin on my shoulder and I'm holding him and my shoulder's wet. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh, you're bleeding.
Blood everywhere.
Under his chin. And then I'm like, let me see that. And I was like, oh my God, I could have opened my beer in that gap. It was, and I'm like,
It
so
was
I'm like,
deep.
oh my God. I walk in the room, we're going to the hospital, get dressed. And we were all ready for bed.
So then Jeff's trying to get
There's an
dressed.
additional part to this story. We'll get into it.
Yeah, we will. And then I'm lay on our bed, hold the rag. He's crying. He's like, it's stinging. And I'm like, let me look at it. And then I saw how deep it was. And there was what was that, tissue or skin sticking out? I was like, oh my God. I go, Jeff. And you go, yeah, get your clothes on. So not even thinking, I didn't put a bra on. I just threw something on. I felt so trash at the hospital. Lawson, well, do we want to go there? Do you want to say?
Yeah, so I take these nighttime gummies, right? With a little CBD, a little THC, but it's only 5 milligrams. So I take them to go to bed, so when we're watching something, everyone settle down, I'll pop one, watch something, and then I'll just drift off, right? So
Didn't you take 2?
I might have took 7 milligrams.
Yeah, you doubled.
Yeah. No, I didn't double. It's only 7 milligrams, whatever. If you guys take those, you know that it's not a lot, right? But I was chilling out, and then I hear that boom, and I'm like, oh my God, we got to go to the hospital. And right when we're going to the hospital, we're walking, I just took those gummies, so I don't know what's going to happen at the hospital.
Okay, wait. So we are in the lobby waiting, and thank God nobody was there. And it was just us. And Jeff's eyes are bloodshot red. And then he's like, don't make me laugh. And he's laughing. And I'm like, oh my God, he's high. And I got no bra. And then Lawson's eyes looked bloodshot because I had given him, because they were hyper, Zarbee's melatonin. We don't do it all the time, but on nights when they're super hyper like that. So 45 minutes before all this happened, I gave them half of melatonin, just a small thing, just to help them calm down and get a good night's sleep, because I didn't want them to be tired. And please don't rate me mean things. I've already talked to the pediatrician about using Zarbee's and they gave me the okay. But anyways, I still feel weird saying that to other doctors because I feel like I'm being judged.
The nurses didn't even care. I'm like, if you gave him a whole one, he wouldn't have been jumping around.
Well, anyway, so it doesn't really do anything for them. They're still bonkers. So, Leighton's kind of stop crying. He's more chill and relax because I think the melatonin's kicking in. Lawson's eyes are bloodshot because he had some melatonin. He's like, I'm tired. Jeff's high. I think.
Listen, high is not the right. 7 milligrams is not like high, but I did.
You were getting goofy.
Well, I was laughing because you're in it's like when you're in church, you know, like you're not supposed to laugh, but then you get the giggles. So I started getting the giggles, but I knew, you know, obviously it was kicking in a little bit. Then we go in the room, right? We're in the lobby. Then we go in the room and, I don't even know if you remember saying this. And they're like, the nurse is like, so what happened? And for some reason I got like paranoid. I'm like, I punched him and I gave him stitches or something. I was like, I don't know. Why don't you tell him what happened, Lawson? Because I wasn't in there, right? The kids were in there. And Lawson's like, I don't know. And Jordan goes, I wasn't in there. You covered for yourself. And then you left me like a suspect.
I know.
And I was like,
You were just paranoid.
but you did say I wasn't in there. You should have said we weren't in there. We were watching Lacey Peterson.
Oh, well, when
And then the nurse like looked at me and I knew my eyes
paranoid
were
about
red.
telling him that I gave him melatonin. I felt like the doctor kind of looked at me like, oh. And then I have a friend that used to work at Children's, and I told her, I go, we went in there looking like trash, and I told her
And I
about you.
forgot my hat.
And she goes, oh, don't worry about it. Parents will come in late all the time looking like that. She goes, including me, and I worked there, you know? And I would think I was, I don't know. She's like, so what happened? I was like, I don't really know. I was like, we weren't in there. So I'm like, Lawson, Leighton, tell her what happened, because we didn't know. I mean, it was like kind of like he was bleeding. We panicked and we're like, we got to get to the hospital.
So I guess what happened was she was jumping around on the bed and Lawson was laying down and he's got like a high, what do you call that? Like backboard?
They were doing flips off the headboard of the bed.
No, he jumped, but he didn't want to, he jumped towards it and didn't want to land on Lawson. So he rolled the other way and then clipped his chin
clipped
on
his
the top
chin.
of the.
Thank God he didn't like
Headboard,
bite his
headboard.
tongue
Yeah.
or his teeth come out. I would thought like for sure, like something like that, he would have knocked his teeth out,
And
but I
he
wasn't
has-
really thinking.
He has another set of stitches in the exact same place, maybe a quarter of an inch over.
Yeah. And then that was when we were in Mexico and my dad was here.
Yeah.
And then he's got a scar right here from when he slipped and fell and hit the corner of the table.
And then he got the on his ear fall
Then he's
apart.
got a scar on his ear.
And that was on our corner of our bedpost. We need to get rid of bedposts.
Well, no, we need to put cushions on each corner of like the bed. I mean, this kid. But yeah.
When I was 5, on Thanksgiving Day, my brother, well, I was pretending I was a ghost and I went in the room and he pulled the cover off because he wasn't having it. But my feet were under there. And I went and fell and I hit, at the time, remember those metal bedposts?
Yeah.
Not bedpost, that hold the mattress?
Yeah.
Or whatever. I hit my head right on that thing. So Leighton's kind of taking after me and I don't know what.
I was always breaking something. I was the only kid, and my sister never hurt. Peyton never hurt. I got a fork, went straight up my lip and was out the other end on my sister's birthday. My parents had to leave and take me to the emergency room. I
You got
cracked
forked
my
in your lip?
yeah. I broke my elbow in half, and I fell on my neck one time. Oh my God. It's always
All right.
something.
Well,
We're
anyways,
going to take a break after
It was
this.
a long night and
We survived.
having my first beer of the weekend.
Leighton's room might have looked like a crime scene because he was touching everything. I was cleaning it up this morning. But let's take a break.
All right. We're good parents, I promise.
Y'all know I talk about AG1 all the time. Love it. I am constantly sending out my travel packs to people to try. Some people are on the fence about AG1, and I'm like, you guys have to take this. 8 months of taking AG1, and I have only been sick one time. And I need something for my immune support. Because remember last year, I was sick all the time. I caught every single virus.
Right. And taking care of your health is a priority right now. And AG1 helps out with that. One of my buddies actually wrote me and he goes, hey, man, I'm going to try that AG1. He goes, are you sure it's good? I'm like, buddy, I'm not just, advertising it. I live it. And I've been taking it for over a year. And I gave him the link to our thing. And I'm like, listen, if you put it in perspective, how many vitamins you're going to cut down on. And in addition, you're going to drink that every single morning. I go, you tell me. And he already signed up and he's on it. So he's going to get back.
I love that. My dad sent me a DM the other day. I was talking about AG1 and sent me a DM and it goes, AG1 rocks. My dad's like telling all his friends about it because he's on a health kick because he had cancer and a lot of things happened to him. So, and he's a diabetic, so he wants to be the healthiest he can be. But also, too, I say this every single time, zinc makes me feel nauseous. And I was telling my mom this. She's the same way. The vitamin C and zinc are pretty much what sold me because I hate taking zinc on an empty stomach. And when I drink my AG1, I can take it on an empty stomach and I'm fine.
Yeah. Well, the proof is in the pudding. I know I can trust what's in every scoop of AG1 because it's tested for over 950 contaminants and banned substances, while the industry standard is typically only 10.
Yeah, I trust AG1 all the way.
It's important to me that I feel important, and AG1 packages their products so well, it makes me feel that way.
Makes me feel good too with that spoon. All the travel packs that I have, I give to my friends to pass out because a lot of them drink. And I'm like, your immune needs to stay up. You need that immune support. I sent some travel packs to my mom. I got my dad on the AG1 train. I'm sending all the travel packs to everybody. Taking care of my health shouldn't be complicated, and AG1 simplifies this by making it so there aren't a million different pills and capsules to keep track of. Just one scoop of AG1 mixed in water every day. And I like my AG1, I do 8 ounces. You like to do 4 ounces, but I like doing more. I like feeling like I got a fancy drink with the tumbler because I'm drinking green juice. I feel like I'm in LA. So if you want to replace your multivitamin and more, start with AG1. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 plus K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first subscription at drinkag1.com/togetherness. That's drinkag1.com/togetherness. Check it out. Okay, guys, picking up from our conversation. Oh, I forgot to say welcome back. But picking up on our conversation from last week, we were talking about gossip. I feel like that's such a good conversation because you can go so many ways with this.
Yeah, and we were kind of, we always kind of lean on positivity. I was telling you about a book that I read in the past. It's called The War of Art by Steven Pressfield, I believe his name is.
I feel like, wait, have you had that since we started dating?
I've had it for a while.
You gave that to me, and I think you have notes you wrote.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Steven Pressfield. It's called The War of Art. But I mean, you have to read it because he's such a great author, and it really hits home. I actually started re-listening to it on the way to work today because I knew we were going to talk about it. But I don't want to get too much into it. You listen and take what you can get out of it. Joe Rogan actually turned me on to this guy, and there's another guy that I'll talk about, but right now it's about him. But it's all about resistance. And resistance comes in like every single form. Maybe I should wait to tell you what it's about after you tell your story about like gossip.
Well,
because it kind of goes into play about, he talks about that.
Yeah. Well, what I was telling Jeff today, 8 months of working on myself and reading scripture, doing my devotionals, reading positivity on my walks. If I'm not listening to music, I'm listening to a positive podcast because, like I've told you all, I have to try at being positive. I don't just wake up. Like if I see people on Instagram that are like, "Hi, it's a wonderful day," I will not follow them because that's so fake to me because we don't all wake up that way. There are some people, like my brother, he's always just been the happiest person. But I just feel like that's not natural to always be that way. It's more like it's your brand. And that's just what you do. You go on and
you turn it up too much.
And you turn it up too much. Anyways, and I was telling Jeff, I have, I've caught myself. I a couple years ago got myself caught up in gossip. And when you met me, I'm not that person like gossiping. And I feel like I'm going to be the bigger person and go on ahead and apologize because I feel like I got caught up in that and that's not who I am. And I was telling Jeff, I was like, all of us moms are out there doing the best that we can do. we don't know what people are doing behind closed doors. Maybe a mom is at night after she puts her kids to bed is crying. Maybe she doesn't like her marriage. Maybe she's having trouble with her kids. Maybe her husband lost his job. We all go through shit. And I got caught up in gossiping, and I was one of those people gossiping. And, you know, I was turning into somebody who I am not. And it all goes to, you are who you are around. You've always said that to me.
You are who you hang
And
around.
I was becoming that. But I didn't see it. I didn't notice it because I was around that. And you are like, you would say, what are you doing? Why are you gossiping so much? Why are you, who cares? Because you are someone that never gossips. If somebody is gossiping, you get up and remove yourself from that. And you've always been that person. And like I said, I now, since focusing on myself, am like, wow, I wasn't a good person. And I might have said some things and hurt people's feelings. And why was I being that person? That is not you. You are all about, hey, how are you? You know, you look great. But instead, you know, I'm like, this person's this or that. And I just got caught up in that. And it now that I haven't drank, and it more so came when I drank alcohol, I would say things. And now I look back and I feel, and now I hate that about myself. I'm like, why did I let myself get to that point? And because that's not you. So my whole thing here is to say, if someone is gossiping, get up and remove yourself, because it cost me friendships because of things I said. And then also those people getting hurt and those people saying mean and hurtful things about me, and then me getting mad. But I always say, everything is like the game of Big Brother. When people do not talk and communicate, and, you know, Big Brother, you have alliances, right? Let's say someone on this side of the street isn't talking to these people on this side of the street. There could be somebody in the middle saying something. Oh, this person said this about you. And then you're like, what?
It starts becoming telephone.
It becomes telephone. And I feel like that happened. And I want to apologize for anybody that, like, I've hurt their feelings in the past by doing that. Because I'm like, I have two really good friends that I've known since I was 19 and one since like 4th or 5th grade. It's Jesse and Jennifer. They know everything about me. They know all my secrets. Everything I have said has never gotten back out. They are actually what Big Brother, when they give me my key, those are the two people in my video. And now, like the other day, like I write these questions down and I was like, was I a friend like how I am to Jesse and Jennifer? Like I would drop anything for both of them, you know, because I've known them and I'm loyal to them. And I wasn't. And I'm just saying, don't get caught up in that.
Yeah. Well, here, let me help you out a little bit. First of all, it's awesome that you saw that in yourself. You know what I mean? You came to a realization. Some people never get that.
It took me 8 months to figure it out.
Some people never figure it out, right? So to look in yourself and find something that's bad and want to fix it, that's called growth. And we don't allow that in society anymore for people to make mistakes or grow in any sort of aspect. I've said it maybe on this podcast or on the show, but we applaud people that change their gender or their identity or who they are. We applaud that in society. But if you make a mistake at some point in your life, you're not allowed to change that. You're not allowed to fix that or make people think that you're a better person. So I applaud you for even saying that, number one. Number two is society is just the culture that we live in is a giant gossip pot, or whatever you want to call it. All of social media is just gossip. People saying their opinions, not knowing who people are in any personal level, but interjecting their opinion onto you. And when you get into maybe like a small community or something, it's almost like a mob mentality. When you are running with those people and they're gossiping and things, you might fall into that trap or want to fit in or maybe say something because that's what they're doing. And like I said, you are who you hang around with. I'm not pointing fingers at anybody. I'm not perfect. I get all that. But it's an easy pit to fall into if that's what everybody's doing all the time. But for you to take yourself out of that situation, for you to take yourself out of that situation and look inside yourself and want to fix yourself first, that's your next step, is fixing those other broken relationships if you choose to. They might not want to choose to, and that's okay.
Right.
But for you to look inward instead of outward, I think is the biggest blessing in life, because you finally realized who you are and you want to make yourself better, because none of us are perfect, but on Instagram, everybody's perfect.
Right.
Kind of going back to what you're saying.
And something I've told myself after like doing all of this is, I told myself, if any time from now on, if I'm in a situation and there is gossip or somebody being talked about, I'm going to be like you, get up and remove myself, or I'm going to sit there and not participate in the talking. But again, like I said, with alcohol, it's so easy just to join in. And I can pinpoint a time when I started doing that. It makes me feel like such a gross person.
Yeah, but I don't think things are, I know what you're talking about. And if people are listening, I think they know what they're talking about. But I think it goes back to what you said about Big Brother and telephone. I don't think it was any sort of situation. I think it was a little, firework that turned into an M80 for no reason, because nobody was communicating. And if you don't have any communication, things fester and they get bigger and bigger until something pops. Whether it pops into a fight or you guys break up your friendship or you stop drinking, something's got to give, right? Something's got to give. And that's what gave in this situation. You took yourself out of the situation. You're sober now. Not like there was a problem. Maybe a little bit.
Maybe a little bit.
Maybe Wednesday afternoon in the driveway. Yeah, maybe that was a problem. But as I'm having a beer. But yeah, I know. I'm proud of you for saying that. I'm proud of you.
Yeah. And I want to be, I feel like I am a very transparent person, and I try to be open and honest. Sometimes maybe I'm too blunt and people don't understand that, and they might not get that, but when I'm being blunt, I feel like if I'm being blunt to you, that's like showing respect.
I'm the same way.
Because if somebody's blunt to me, I'm like, I like you. Like, I want to be friends with you because you seem very honest if you're right off the bat. But I think I need to learn that some people take that as being offensive, maybe a little bit, or hurting someone's feelings, and I need to be better at that.
Yeah, I know I'm more of a blunt person too. Maybe that's why we get along. But some people, you got to handle everybody differently.
Yeah.
And then when some people are kind of like that fake, like, what's up, guys? Like you were saying, like, oh my God, there she is, the queen, legend, you're a goat. What, that outfit's the goat. Everything's Yaz on top of the world. Well, how are you ever telling me the truth that whenever I walk in a room wearing this, I'm the goat? So what about like on my wedding day? And you're like, Yaz, you're the goat. Again.
Right.
It's like, so which one is it? Are you just saying that to everybody? And then I don't respect your opinion anymore, because I'm like, you're just saying that to everybody, or because you're the loudest, somehow you care the most. It's like, I don't respect people like that. You know what I mean? I appreciate that people appreciate each other. But when you're over the top and yelling about every little thing, I'm like, all right, tone it down.
Like my mom, my dad, I call him about finances. My mom, I call her about motherhood, marriage, like things
and
that
your
you
mom's
feel.
blunt.
Yeah.
Very blunt.
Very, very blunt. She's sweet, but she's blunt. I feel like that's mean.
Listen, no, I think we're getting back to is I'm not perfect. I'm not the best friend to even my best friends. You know what I mean?
I have to say, and I'm not just saying this, you're a really good friend. And I think it shows something. And I was telling Jeff this the other day. When you have friends you still have so many friends from college, from high school, from your neighborhood, from LA, friends you've made in Colorado. That says something. That says a lot. When
I
you're
could
I
could check in on them more. You know what I mean? I could be you could always be better.
You call them every time you get drunk. Every time you get drunk. All I'm saying is I've worked on myself for 8 months and trying to be a better person because I feel like I kind of got lost and I feel like I was a bad person.
All right. Well, we that was great. We have to take a break, but I didn't get a chance to talk about it. Maybe I'll talk about it another time. But you should listen to The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield because it hits me what I'm going through right now, and it just talks about making you better. And like I said, he talks about resistance and how in everything that you do, I kind of just summarized the first little chapter, but everything you do, there's resistance. Right. And it's kind of like it's the devil. To break it down, you know, it's the devil of every reason. You have resistance in everything. Getting up in the morning, choices you make during the day, how you treat other people, what's going on in your life. It's all resistance. It's all resistance.
Well,
you know? And he gives you examples of what they are and then how you could turn that around.
Well, I know you're trying to end this. I just wanted to throw this in there. I've been making a point, like with people, like when I see them genuinely, not being like, hey, fake, being like, you look wonderful today. What I've seen you do on Instagram, you working out, you look amazing. Your home, what you posted looks amazing. I love that. Like making sure I do something nice each day, saying something, being complimentary to someone, to be like, if somebody felt bad that day, they're like, oh, that was so nice. She told me I looked pretty, you know, being more genuine.
Yeah.
And spreading kindness. I bought somebody coffee the other day, like behind me in the drive-thru. I was like, I want to buy her coffee. I was like, I hope she didn't order like 10 drinks.
Did you ever feel like I gave, some guy money the other day at a stoplight because I felt bad. And, but for some reason it made me feel good. But I was like, did I do that for him or did I do that for me? Do you know what I'm saying?
No, I always,
because I wasn't feeling good about myself. So I gave him money and it made me feel good. But in some sort of way, me giving him money was selfish. That doesn't make sense to you?
Not really. I do it just because if you feel like you need to. I mean, if somebody...
But I don't know if I was helping him or I was helping me.
I think you did both. It made you feel good and you helped somebody by doing something good. And I think, too, people talk bad about people when you don't feel good about yourself. And at that time, I didn't feel good about myself.
Yeah, I guess we're all going through something as it's kind of wrap up that segment.
Yeah, we all got
you never know what people are going through or how they're feeling or what they're dealing with. And
so be kind. Be kind. There's no reason to bash anyone.
Wow, look at this epiphany. All right, let's take a break and then we got to do some Q&A.
Yes, we're doing Q&A to end it on a positive note. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp. Now that school is back in session, you kind of get lost in the shuffle. You got sports, you got schoolwork, you're trying to cook dinner. You kind of neglect yourself a little bit. I know I do. Absolutely. I try to make myself a priority whenever they are in school and get things done. But still, I feel stressed. Jeff's about to lose his job in 3 weeks. There's a lot going on in our lives that we're pretty open about. And there's a lot that probably other people are going through. A lot of things people are going through, but they don't say it.
Right. And you know what? We are blessed with a great relationship, great friendships. We live in a great neighborhood, but sometimes you just need someone different to talk to.
Yes, I say this every time, we all need therapy. We all could use therapy. And what I love about BetterHelp is you can switch a therapist at any time if you don't feel like it's a good fit for you. Actually, somebody wrote me and said they used BetterHelp and they found a therapist that they liked.
Listen, talking to someone, I think, is the best way, obviously, to get things off your chest. But sometimes you just want to talk to somebody that doesn't know you personally, that doesn't judge you. And what I love the most about BetterHelp is that if you don't find a therapist that fits exactly with you, you could switch at any time for free.
If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapist at any time for no additional charge.
Never skip therapy day with BetterHelp.
Visit betterhelp.com/togetherness today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/togetherness. Welcome back. So
That was very deep. You got deep that last one.
I did.
I
Wait, there's
appreciate
not
it.
enough time. I'm trying. Like I said, we're all working on ourselves, right?
Every day. Every day I pray at night and I say, just be better tomorrow.
Right.
Sometimes I'm not and sometimes I am. But let's get to some Q&A because you posted on your Instagram.
I did.
That you said some people wanted to answer some questions.
Okay. Let's see. First one. One mistake you made that you hope your kids won't. I made a lot of mistakes when I was
that
younger.
goes right in what we were saying, right?
My poor parents, I stressed them out so much. And I've done a lot of stupid things. You know what I tell Jeff? My kids, as they get older, I will intervene. I need to know the parents. I need to know what it's like at your house. I need to know what your parents are like, the morals they have and everything. Because when you were younger, you were so influenced by your friends. And if you're running with good kids, I feel like not bad things can happen.
Yeah, but you also, this is my biggest struggle. You want to, not helicopter parent, but that's kind of, what I'm getting at. But you also got to let them kind of adventure and do their own things and learn from trial and error. Because I've said this a million times, it's kind of like my motto. All my best lessons in life all of my best lessons in life have come from everything I've done wrong. So the most outrageous and craziest things I've done, I've learned the biggest lessons. Or if I've gotten the most trouble or things that set me back the most, those were the biggest lessons I've learned in my life. Don't do that again. Look how much trouble you're in. Don't go down that path. Stop hanging around with that person. Don't do this anymore. Like, I learned something from all those things, and every time I got patted on the back or scored a touchdown or been on TV, those are all great, but I didn't learn anything from those.
But when you were younger, there was no social media, and you might have done stupid things that could have been caught, somebody recording you, and it could have changed everything for you, and it being posted. That's my thing. Now kids can't make mistakes or do stupid things that we did because
different.
Everything is recorded. Everything.
Yeah, well, society needs a change, and if it doesn't,
it's a lot harder to be a kid, I feel like.
But I would definitely be supportive in whatever my kids do, even the worst things. I will be supportive and be there for them, and then hopefully be there as someone to talk to. I want them to talk to me and be able to tell me anything, because I think I have a lot of lessons that I've gone through in my life that I could, teach them as well when they do something bad. Because inevitably, everybody does.
Yeah, I just hope, I don't know. I don't want my kids to, you know what my biggest fear is? When you're younger, you don't think anything bad could happen to you.
Live forever.
And my thing, and my mom and dad were so good about this. They never made me, they were strict, but they still let me do things, but they never made me scared of them. So like if I was at a party and started drinking, I know I could have called my parents without them flipping out on me. Yeah, when I got home, I probably would get in trouble, but my mom's her number one thing was, and this was before Uber, all of that, my mom just said, please just do not drink and drive. And that is like one of my biggest things with my kids is just don't get in a car with somebody that's been drinking.
Right, and don't be scared to call us.
And don't be scared to call. I don't ever want my kids to feel scared where they can't talk to me, or let's say they have sex. I don't even want to think about that.
Oh,
or,
Jesus.
You
Get
know,
to the
like
next question.
Something like that where they can't talk to me. Like my mom, I could talk to her about that stuff. Okay. Since Jeff lost his job, will you move out of Colorado now?
No. Right now, no. We're staying put.
Not right now. The answer's no. We're not going anywhere. We are those people that moved in 2020 and we got the interest rate. We are going nowhere.
Well, listen.
You can't
never
find
know.
a house the size we have for the price we got. Just saying.
What do you want? $1 million listing? I love that show, by the way. But yeah, listen, if there is a job opportunity somewhere else in the interim, first of all, I have no offers on the table to be perfectly frank. And I don't know if there ever will be, but if there is, I would probably commute the first year just to see if it was secure or not, because I'm not ready to pick up. I love Colorado. I lived in Chicago, loved it, by the beach in LA, loved it. And this is just the perfect place for our family and our kids.
It's just it's very rare to find
And
what
we're
we have with our
community and
neighbors.
yeah.
Like we all look out for each other. I could call them in a heartbeat and they would, if something bad happened, and I know they would be there and help me.
Yeah.
And I feel like they treat my kids like their own. I treat their kids like my own. And it's very rare that you find like at least 5 people in your street. I mean, I love everybody on our street. And it just, the thought of it, I don't even want to think about it. If we did, we'd probably rent this house out. I'm already like saying, like, we're renting this house out. We are not getting rid of it. Leighton the other day said, was just joking around. He goes, Lawson, we're moving. I didn't tell you this. And Lawson's like, shut up, Leighton. No, we're not. And Lawson started crying in the car. He was like, I love my school and my friends. And then because the kids don't know that I don't tell them because they don't need to know.
Yeah.
But
we love Colorado right now, and there's no plans on moving. But life happens, and I guess you never know. But
Jeff can go live with one of his buddies in LA while he auditions. One of his single friends, because I told him, I go, you can commute. Your dad did it, and you can. All right. So I just watched Big Brother 11. Did y'all go to Hawaii together on the trip Jeff won?
Wow, a throwback question.
Jeff cashed that in for $5,000, and no, he didn't take me.
I got cash.
Yeah, he got cash. But now that I know Jeff, you being the tight ass you are, I'm like, that is so you.
Well, guess what? That money that I got,
Because you would have been
that I cashed in, went right into a savings account, or not the stock market.
Oh,
All my Big Brother winnings went into the stock market.
good for you.
Yeah, good for you. Now it's good for you because I don't have a job and I'm gonna have to dip into that.
No, you're not doing that. All right. Would you or Jeff be a contestant on Traitors? That's the only other reality show that I probably would do, just because I feel like it's kind of like Big Brother, and I would want to be a traitor. I would want to be the opposite of.
Well, it just
how
seems
was on
fun. Not, I'm
Not
46
stressful.
years old now, and I don't know how I'm very competitive, but some of those, well, Big Brother's not like that. I'm thinking more of like the challenge, which I've never done. But listen, I'm going to be jobless here pretty soon, so I'm open. I'm hoping all offers are on the table.
I don't want him to do reality shows. I just would rather you work your real jobs. But if you want to, do whatever you want. I prefer you to have a real job.
Okay, well, beggars can't.
Jeff, what is your biggest hope for Jordan? And Jordan, what is your biggest hope for Jeff? My biggest hope for Jeff is that he doesn't just settle and he doesn't stop dreaming and he gives up. I hope he continues to be better, because I told him this. People give up right before they get their big break. And I feel normally, okay, if he lost his job, this is going to be weird too. Y'all are going to be like, oh my God, who is this girl? When he told me the big bosses were coming in, I got that feeling in my stomach and I couldn't sleep that night because I was like, the show's getting canceled. I just knew it.
Jeff, last live.
Yeah. Jeff was like, no, it's not. I think it might be something good. And I was like, no, it's getting canceled. With you not having your job is a scary thing. And normally I would be like freaking out knowing how I am. I'd be like, oh my God, this is terrible news. For some reason, I'm not worried about it at all. I'm like at peace with it. I'm like, well, it's fine. So that has to mean something better is on the horizon. And I feel like it got canceled because there's something better for you. And I said this before, you're getting redirected, turn the other way, and it's whether it be something like a DBL, a travel show, something else. But my fear is you're a little defeated a little bit, even though you say you're fine. You still, I know when you get drunk, then you really tell how you feel. And and I told you, I was like, when we dated, you were non-stop dreamer. And you believed it. You believed that you were going to be a host. And now you're like, there's nowhere for me. There's no one.
The market's changed. The industry's changed. So is my attitude. I'll give you that.
I don't care. You have to be like, you know what? this is what I'm doing next, and you have to believe it, and it's going to happen. If you believe it, you can't give up. You can't be like, I'm not getting this audition. I did this audition, but I'm not getting it because for whatever reason. No, keep doing the auditions because you're eventually going to land one.
Right. So the answer, what was the question? Whatever.
What is your hope for me?
My hope is that you stay exactly like that, because Jordan's been such a rock through this whole thing, and I need that motivation because I know exactly what she's talking about losing that faith, and I remember having it like without a doubt in my mind, and everything came to fruition. Why am I trying to use big words? Everything came true, and so I need to get back in that place. But going back to that Stephen Pressfield book that I was talking about, The War of Art, he talks about my whole thing was it's always darkest before dawn, right? You always kind of have to hit rock bottom till you realize what's in front of you. And I understand losing my job was, painful and all that. Maybe that's rock bottom. But he talks about resistance, like I talked about, and he says resistance hits the hardest right when you're about to succeed. It's going to throw everything it can at you right before you succeed. So you got to weather that storm when he talks about resistance before you could walk through that door. And I've been hit in the face pretty hard with losing my job and just my mentality about, I don't think there is an opportunity out there for me. So maybe I have a little bit further to fall, but
you have to knock on every door, all the connections. It doesn't matter. You have to keep going. And I know you. You keep saying, yeah, I'm doing everything I can, but you're not believing in yourself.
Yeah,
and that is what it is. Because I think right now you're at the point, you're like, do I really want to continue to do this? Yeah. And I know it's something you love, and it's something... I said this before, you going back to like a 9 to 5, you are not going to be your happiest. You're just going to do it, but you're not going to be fulfilled. And I don't have a dream of something I want, right now. So all I want is for you to be happy, because if you're happy, we're happy, right?
Yeah. And I don't know if this business makes me happy anymore, and that's kind of where I love doing. I mean, I'll never stop doing this podcast. I like doing that and little things on my own. But, the hiring and firing and, it's just taken a turn. I'm 46 now, and I know a lot about the industry, and I have a lot of great ideas. The industry's going down. They're hiring differently. And I don't know if there's a place for me anymore in this business.
It's because it's not the right job.
Yeah, and maybe
if you did an Anthony Bourdain travel show where you're in countries and you're traveling and you're doing food, you are on Daily Blast Live talking politics, which you absolutely hate. Right. You're talking about celebrities who you could care less about, and celebrities, to be honest, are so annoying. They annoy me, and that's what drains you, and that's what brings you down. Your passion is traveling. Yeah. Your passion is cooking, food, travel, anything like that, Discovery, Travel Channel. Right. That's what I'm saying.
I want to get back to the happy. I think all the political talk and Taylor Swift this and Travis Kelce that, or
who cares?
I can't stomach it anymore, and then the people that are fake happy for this person and fake happy for that person. I don't want to play the game and have some boss, high up dictate my future who doesn't even know me.
It's just people in
playing the corporate game. Yeah. I'm done talking about politics. I just want to get back to being happy. Go have a beer at this place nobody knows about, or go eat this sandwich that's bigger than that couch, and travel and see the world and learn and meet new people. Don't tell me how people are. I want to go out there and meet them myself, because I've been out there and I love people from around the world. Don't tell me what my personality is, or I'm partial to this or that. People don't know who I am. I love everybody. You know what I mean? But then when it comes to the show, I get pissed off at certain topics because I'm like, you're just taking that side because society tells you to, and you get patted on the back from Hollywood for it. I'm tired of that shit. I'm really like, it affected my whole lifestyle.
The people that don't say anything, they need somebody like you to be on there speaking the truth.
Yeah, but
let's move on to the next question. We could talk about this forever. Yeah. Okay, who liked first when you met on Big Brother?
What?
Who liked who first when you met on Big Brother? I didn't meet you, and I didn't the first time I saw you, I wasn't like, ooh, I want to date this guy.
Sure.
Yeah, right. You had gray hair. I was like, this dude's old. I didn't. Yes, you did. You had salt and pepper hair, and I remember thinking, this dude's old, and because I thought you were old. and I was 22. But
Well, I guess the answer to that is
then I started, when I started liking him, you farted in the room, in that swimming pool room.
always the charmer.
It was me, you, Natalie. Who else was
Michelle
in?
and Lydia.
Yes. And I said, you farted. And I was like, this guy's hot. And he farted. And I was like, that's funny that he can joke around. And you were like goofy. And I thought you were going to be, because you like look like a Days of Our Lives type guy. I thought you were going to be stuck up like, ooh, girls don't fart, like that type of guy and like annoying. And then you like let loose. And I was like, you know what? I kind of like him. And then you would say like nice things. And then when everybody was against you,
Guess who's back?
yeah, you guys be quiet. No.
Let me be it.
No, go.
I want to be
At the end.
We're
at the end,
almost
if you're
done.
quiet.
And then I was like, I like this guy. And then I was, when everybody was against you and I wanted to, I don't know, be your friend.
Well, I liked you real quickly because we got to wrap this up. But I was the last person in the house. I've told the story before. I was the last person to walk into the Big Brother house. So I didn't have a bed. And I was, at the time, sleeping in a double bed with Michelle, who was married at the time. And before I went to sleep that night, Jordan goes, you know what, you could have my bed. I'll sleep with her because I know she's married. And that was right when we walked in the house. And I was like, wow, I like her, right? I mean, that was a minute after we walked in the house.
You had respect.
Definitely.
Somebody else asked me, they were like, if you guys were in a bar, would y'all have connected like you did? And I don't think so, because I am not your type. I'm not like what you were looking for. And I probably just wouldn't have paid attention. I don't think we would have. What does Jeff think of Vanderpump and the two Toms? We'll end on that.
How many random questions? You know what? Despite the hate I might get, I'm a Tom fan. I like the Toms. I know one Tom did what he did, but listen, Ariana, if you watch Vanderpump Rules, got hers out of it. I'd take that deal any day. If you cheated on me and I got 5 national commercials, a Broadway show, and I got to host a bunch of shows, that's a pretty good trade-off, if you ask me.
Good for her.
Not saying that it was what he did was right. It was totally wrong, but they're entertaining. I like the Toms.
All right. We're going to end on that.
End on Tom.
On Tom. I'll save the other questions for another time. Sorry, my kids interrupted. I hope you guys have a wonderful week. I hope you love this podcast. Please continue to download, subscribe, tag your friends, all that good stuff. Yes. So have a good night. Bye.